Hey everyone, welcome to another rapid fire review, this time for Wanted Dead. Wanted Dead is a new hybrid slasher shooter from the makers of Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. The game follows a week in the life of the Zombie Unit, an elite Hong Kong police squad on a mission to uncover a major corporate conspiracy. You play as Lieutenant Hannah Stone, a hard-boiled Hong Kong cop, and plow through mercenaries, gang members, and private military contractors in a spectacular cyberpunk adventure. It's filled with mini-games, like a ramen eating challenge, karaoke, and a Super R-type arcade game. At least, this is what we were told that this was going to be, and what was shown off in some trailers. It's actually hard to nail down what they were going for. My guess is this was supposed to be a game that's so bad that it's good. They wanted to make, and I quote, a love letter to the 6th generation of consoles. So they wanted to send us a love letter, but we got an unsolicited dick pic instead. Alright, so let's start with what they're calling a story. It's an awful collection of barely connected, unintelligible cutscenes and art style swaps, uninspired and stapled together poorly by the untalented, with voice actors recruited from the pool of people not talented enough to act in the porn industry. Again, if the intention is to make this so bad that it's good, it had to give me at least one thing to latch onto, like the cult classics do. Make it really weird, wild, or do something crazy. Add in some actual humor that works. You gotta give me something so that I'm anything but bored every single time someone is poorly reading your garbage script.
Oh, at least slurp the soup.
Shut the fuck up, Herzog.
Sometimes I feel that you hate joy. A good bowl of soup's better than sex, Stone.
You're just doing it wrong. What's the deal with you and this goddamn soup?
I enjoy life, not the soup. It's pretty good, though. Something I really missed in the camp.
At least you had a cellmate.
Uncle Bob, yeah, right. And a bunch of other
She
guys.
feels very uncomfortable.
Yeah, former spec ops guy with a serious...
Yeah, it's sexual harassment.
disorder.
She's uncomfortable.
There's
He
that
said
tune
that she
you
smelled like
listen
cat
to.
piss earlier.
I hate it.
This is not how you pick up
And
women.
waking up completely naked for some reason, screaming that the enemy artillery is attacking his position. These were the days.
There's more male nudity in your stories than in a Joaquin Phoenix.
If you need some context, I watch movies with OJ pretty regularly. So I've seen every Neil Breen movie. Several movies about Bigfoot's Wild Weekend, or him fighting other monsters or sharks with multiple heads. And movies about possessed gingerbread man fighting evil bongs. So I'm fairly well versed in fun times with bad media, but this isn't it. This comes off in the same awkward and horrific way as when major companies try to get in on the memes like those kids are doing on the TikToks and YouTubes. Do you remember when Jared Leto tried to get in on the Morbius memes? This feels like that. The gameplay aspect of this was a bit less disappointing, but still isn't good. It's a standard slasher shooter. But even then, they found several ways to absolutely fuck it all up. On the surface level, the guns work okay, and the sword works slightly better. The issue arises with the pieces that fit around them. The problem with the gunplay is they really don't deal much damage at all. And if it weren't for the blood being splattered around, I would just assume that I'm using an airsoft gun the entire time. Compounding that issue is how incredibly spongy every NPC is, outside of the lowliest grunts. The mini-bosses that come in both Ninja and Juggernaut form are even worse.
I'm stuck!
They're durable and they almost instant kill.
Is that all of them?
But hey, at least the guns aren't totally useless. They can be used as a bad example for future developers. So naturally, the sword must be the key to make this puzzle work, right? Well, not exactly. The sword with its blocking and parrying system do work better than the guns, but it's an animation-based system, so you get locked into the swings while fighting up to 20 NPCs, some of them firing on you, some of them using their own swords, which means you can just instantly and randomly die. It doesn't happen that often, but it's not challenging in a satisfying way where I want to learn the movesets and positioning to beat the combat puzzles. It's more like I have to hope the camera doesn't zoom inside of my body so I can't see when to parry the one combo kill ninja I'm fighting while also being shot by 15 other dudes and dodging grenades. The camera is almost always one of the toughest things to overcome in any third-person slasher shooter, and it's very much the same here. Tight corridors and alleyways, awkward Gears of War style cover systems that doesn't work half the time, that makes doing anything tough. There's also invisible walls, railings, and tiles that make grenade launcher use absolutely miserable. And even when it's supposed to be rewarding, and you break the enemy's guards to do your finishers, half the time the move animations weren't lining up with the character models, so the only goddamn reward you get from combat was taken away from you.
I killed him. What the fuck just happened?
Again, it's just like, they're trying to do cool shit. Like, I love the finisher aspects, it's just like they don't line up. It's just not programmed well. There are also sections with 10 plus waves of enemies, with 3 Anthem-level bullet sponge mini-bosses with no checkpoints. If you make a mistake, or if the camera kills you, or if an enemy with a grenade launcher instantly kills you without warning, you are starting over, 15 to 30 minutes back. You can also simply crash in these sections and have to go all the way back to the beginning too. The bosses have almost no payoff either. So there's no sense of satisfaction like in a Souls-like game where your skills and your perseverance overcame a tough encounter. The bosses aren't tough. We killed every boss in the first few tries, if not the first try. Some with no problem at all. The only difficulty here is trying to understand who gave these people money to make games. The minigames here are also a joke, and I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be a joke, but it's not funny or welcome. It's just low-effort internet browser games that have been done much better by better developers for better games. Just fail them as quickly as you can, and then you can quit them and move on. One thing I've seen in other reviews, or from fans of the game, is that it's supposed to be bad. That was the intent. Well then, congratulations, Sola, you did it! You big group of overachievers, you succeeded. Oh, did I mention that this is also a full-price $60 game? $65 with tax? I know some reviewers don't care what it costs to buy a game, but I'm not one of them. I always had to be careful choosing which games I bought since I couldn't get them that often, and if I had paid full price for this game, I would have been disappointed purely based on its quality, and absolutely livid based on how little content there is here. This is an 8-hour-long, $65 game. I know it's not always great to compare games to one another, comparison being the thief of joy and all that, but I don't give a shit. This game is bad and it deserves it. If you look at other games like Sifu, which had an amazing combat system, and an interesting story, and bosses, and is longer than Wanted Dead, and was $40 on release. Hi-Fi Rush is also a great indie game, was well designed, and longer than Wanted Dead for half the price. Look, some people are going to like this game. I don't know who these people are, who or what hurt them in the past, or if they played literally any other game, but they exist. I just have to know if these people think that the $65 they lit on fire was worth it. Look, if you couldn't tell, I don't like this game, and I don't think you should play it, even when it's on sale. Just play something else, anything else. I'm giving Wanted Dead a 3 out of 10, and it only gets those points, just barely, for the fairly functional combat system. Everything else around this game sucks. Don't play it. Well, thanks so much for sticking through to the end of this rapid fire review. And we shall see you on the next Angry Joe Show.